50 years ago today, we saw the beginning of a fight against segregation that forever changed the civil rights movement in this country. On September 20th, 1962, James Meredith walked onto the campus of the University of Mississippi, trying to become the first African-American to attend Ole Miss. Meredith had a federal court order saying he should be allowed to register, but he was physically blocked from enrolling by state officials and massive crowds that spiraled out of control and became a national story.
Nearly 6,000 troops patrol Oxford to maintain order, and arrests mount to more than 200 as smaller disturbances erupt the next day.
President Kennedy addressed the nation, calling on the crowds to obey the order.
Americans are free and sure to disagree with the law, but not to disobey it. No mob, however unruly or boisterous, is entitled to defy a court of law.
But the crowds grew violent. Rioters fired guns and threw Molotov cocktails. They hoisted Confederate flags in the air. President Kennedy eventually sent in more troops to restore order, but not before more than 160 U.S. Marshals had been hurt and 2 bystanders were killed. Through all of this chaos and crisis, Meredith didn't give up. And on October 1st, he marched back to campus, escorted by federal marshals, and finally registered for class. Meredith continued his fight even after graduating. In 1966, he began a solitary march against fear, encouraging blacks to register and vote. But during the march, he was shot in the back. Other civil rights leaders, including Martin Luther King Jr., took up the march in his name. But Meredith soon left the hospital and actually rejoined the march before they finished. His courage helped change a generation. And 40 years after the students rioted to keep him out, he was honored with a monument on the campus of Ole Miss. Today, 16% of the student body is African American. You see, we live in a nation where change comes when ordinary people make extraordinary steps, when people find the courage to stand up and right wrongs. We don't see the mobs today we once saw, and we don't see the killings that we once saw. But we see resistance, we see the changing of the rules, we see voter suppression, we see anti-immigration, we see gender inequality, we see gays and lesbians treated differently. Do we have the courage to make a difference? It's not about somebody somewhere else. It's about all of us inside ourselves, remembering on this day that one man stood up and changed the nation. We can at least stand up and change the environment around us if we but have the courage.
I really thought I couldn't die. You know, how anybody could have thought realistically what I thought. I really did. I really thought it. I mean, I really thought I couldn't die. Not only that, I thought I could, if a mob came after me, I thought all I had to do was raise my hand. I mean, and believed it. I mean, and now I'm at peace with it, because I realized most of the things I did in Mississippi, if I hadn't have believed I couldn't die, if I hadn't have believed I had all this magical power, I wouldn't have done it. So in that regard, I have no regrets.